to set up what your x and y are first. And kind of similar to the way that we did those in the word problems last as we were building up to this, I'm going to go down and I'm going to see what they're asking me to find. The first thing they're saying is when will they meet? Which means the first question is my x. And this is time. I do need to, in this case, look and see how they're measuring time, and they're measuring it in seconds. So x is the number of seconds until they meet, but I'm just going to write number of seconds. And then the second question, how far from Ian's initial end of the swimming pool will they be, is my y. So distance from Ian's, oops, if I can actually write this, distance from Ian's end of the pool. And then I'm going to write an equation for each of the swimmers. I'm going to write one equation for Michael in relation to his distance from Ian's end of the pool, and then a second equation for Ian. So Michael is on the opposite side of this swimming pool. So Michael starts 65.1 feet away from Ian's initial end of the pool, because it says, hey, you've got this pool, Ian starts at one end and Michael starts at the other. But then as Michael swims, that distance decreases because he's getting closer and closer to Ian's end of the pool at a rate of 4.8 feet per second. So 65.1 minus 4.8x. For Ian's equation, he starts at his own end of the pool, so his distance is 0, but he's going away from it at a rate of 4.5 feet per second. Then I have to solve this system. My interpretation of my solution, and I'm going to start writing this up here because I don't have quite enough room. It says, when will they meet? They will meet, because I have to write this in complete sentences, they will meet in blank seconds. And the second question is, how far from Ian's initial end of the swimming pool will they be? Blank feet. Careful with your units, from Ian's initial end of the pool. This must be written as one or more complete sentences. If you are being choppy and you are saying blank seconds, blank feet, or something like that, you will not be proficient. So I'm going to answer this using one or more complete sentences. They will meet in blank seconds, blank feet from Ian's initial end of the pool. Now I have to solve this so that I can fill in those blanks. So I've got two different y equals equations. And if you remember, if y equals this stuff, then in the other equation where I see y, I can substitute that stuff. So I've got y equals the 65.1 minus 4.8x. That's kind of sloppy, sorry about that, equals 4.5x. Now, I have a constant and a variable term on the left, and, oops, I don't know what the y equals. I'm so sorry. So I want to move this x term to be with the other x term. I'm going to get rid of this minus 4.8x by adding 4.8x. But then I have to add 4.8x to the other side of the equation. And I get 65.1 equals 9.3x. Then I have to divide both sides by 9.3 to solve for x. So grab your calculator and punch in 65.1 divided by 9.3. And you should get 7. So x equals 7, which means they meet in 7 seconds. To find y equals 4.5 times 7. And so if I take 7 and multiply it by 4.5, I get 31.5. My goodness, this is having a problem today. So 31.5 is my y, which means they meet 31.5 feet from Ian's initial end of the pool. The second one, again, I'm going to define my variables first. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know why this question mark is there. That's a typo. How many toppings will it take until the charge is the same for both places? So x is number of toppings. And for y, it says, what will the charge be? This is my second question, so my total charge. I'm going to write one equation for Tootsie's Tasty Freeze, and I'm going to write one equation for Yanni's Yogurt. So the total charge at Tootsie's Tasty Freeze starts at $1.75, and then it's an additional 25 cents per topping. And at Yanni's Yogurt, it starts at $2, but it's an additional 20 cents per topping. So, again, these are both y equals, so if y equals this stuff, that stuff can go in place of this y. So 1.75 plus 0.25x equals my 2 plus my 0.2x. I'm going to subtract 0.2x to move my x to the left. And I'm going to get 1.75 plus 0.05x equals 2. Subtract my 1.75. Move this up here because I'm running out of room. So 0.05x equals 0.25. And divide both sides by 0.05 to solve for x. And x equals 5. So, how many toppings will it take until the charges are the same for both places? So at 5 toppings, the charge for each place will be, again, complete sentence. Now, the charge is in dollars. You have to have the dollar sign if they're charging money. So I'm going to solve for y. Y equals 2 plus my 0.2 times 5, which means y equals 3. Will be $3. Now, as a quick aside, and this does come up in several problems, if my charge ended up being 4.5, then when I was writing it down in my sentence, I would write it as $4.50. You don't write it as 4.5 with no dollar sign. You don't write it as $4.5 because you wouldn't tell somebody something costs $4.5. You would tell them it costs $4.50. So be very careful when you write that final answer that if it's money, you're writing it very carefully.